Hi guys, welcome to Digital Empaths, and this is your host Sushant Ishmani. In our today's Weekend Knowledge Series episode, we're going to discuss on a new topic called digital customer experience, which is one of the most debated and well discussed topic in the last decade or so. Millions of dollars have been invested in constructing and redesigning the consumer journeys. A lot of new technologies have emerged in the last decade to help you measure the different aspects of these journeys, as well as influence these journeys in such a way that it helps you and your organization to reduce their operational cost, improve the satisfaction measures around your different consumer segments, and apart from that, influence their life cycle measures, whether it is lifetime value or churn. Now, when we talk about digital customer experience, the core aspect of that is the consumer, whose needs, whose preferences, whose desires are evolving with time. And as digital is very well integrated with their life, it becomes more important for the organizations that how to capitalize that integration, how to leverage that kind of a change in the behavior to influence each and every touch point in the consumer journey. Today, we're going to discuss on 4 success factors in delivering the digital customer experience. The first 2 factors we will discuss in this episode, and the other 2 factors we'll discuss in the next episode. So the first factor, which is very critical to deliver the digital customer experience, is that designing and digitizing your consumer journeys, which is a no-brainer, but it takes the most amount of time. Because in this stage, you're not just focusing on changing the status quo of your incumbent consumer journeys, but you are focusing on something we call it as a zero-based journey redesign, which means you're starting from the scratch and without any preconception of the ultimate vision for the journey. Now, if I take a step back, the key anchor element in any journey is the persona, the consumer, who's exhibiting different kinds of traits and behavior that you are capitalizing on to influence that. If you look at today's ecosystem, there are 4 key personas. There are certain consumers who are digital by lifestyle. For them, there is no clear demarcation between traditional and the digital world. Digital is fully integrated into their life. They spend a significant amount of their time consuming the social platforms and other various digital forums. They don't believe in the traditional TV or reading the newspapers. The second persona is of those consumers who are digital by choice. I think I call myself belonging to that particular persona. We like to enjoy the advantages of the digital that brings through mediums like your Netflix, your Disney Plus, maybe your Amazon Prime, or even consuming content through YouTube. The third persona is of those people who are digital by need, who only leverages the digital channel when it's absolutely necessary. And digital is beyond the comfort zone of these customers. The fourth is that offline society, a society of our parents who loves going to the brick and mortar stores, who love interacting with the reps in the papa and mom store or visiting the local branches, talking to the managers, talking about their life, talking about their day-to-day aspirations, their challenges. For them, interaction with the physical human being is much more critical than talking or interacting in the virtual world. Now, the second success factor for delivering the digital customer experience is increasing the speed and agility in the insight generation process. See, in the last few years, we all have been requiring fast, frictionless, real-time insights into the multitudes areas of our decision making. Now, if I look at in the last few years, there has been a great adoption of the online focus groups. Companies are leveraging the online chat groups. Okay, they're also leveraging the various DCX platforms, which allows them to marinate or blend the interaction between the brand and the consumer through channels like text, maybe web or videos, or even through call center, and how these platforms are trying to bring aggregation across all these touch points so that the brands can see an overall view of the journey. I remember when I entered into the digital industry, early 2000s, we spent first 10 years talking just about optimizing the individual touch points, because at that point, you did not have too many channels of interacting with the consumers. Now, as the channel proliferation happened in the last decade or so, it has become more critical for the brands to think beyond the touch points. It's not just about optimizing individual touch points or optimizing the CSATs and NPS at the individual touch points, but it's very important for the brands to look at the end-to-end journey of the consumers, because that tells the real pain areas. Now, if we look at the kind of investments which have gone in the last 10 years or so towards different platforms, we will see almost every company has spent close to $3 to $4 million or $5 million on an annual basis to lay down a proper measurement infrastructure. Okay, and that infrastructure is enabling them to not only capture the behavioral aspect of the consumer, but also enabling them to orchestrate their campaign targeting strategy. In my old days, when we were working with our clients to lay down a proper measurement framework, the fundamental challenge was that how to synthesize the data which is getting captured across different platforms and tools into one area. Should we use the old school enterprise data warehouses to aggregate everything, put everything in a relational or a star schema structure? Or we leverage the new breed data lakes of the world where you're storing and capturing all the information in its raw native format, and then spending a lot of time building a whole MDM layer around it. See, capturing the data across different channels is not a big challenge anymore in the today's ecosystem. The challenge is that how to stitch it up together, how to bring synergies, how to find those common identifiers, because not each channel allows you to identify who this prospect or consumer is. Especially when you have a multi-channel business where the consumers are interacting with you through your call center, through your brick and mortar stores, or even they're coming to your web and not identifying themselves who they are. So it's very important that how we leverage the power of technology, leverage the power of machine learning and AI to derive the different aspects of the consumer journey, and then think about how to optimize it, how to change the status quo. Now, when we look at any different technology or any platform, behind the scene, what we are trying to do there is we are trying to profile each and every consumer. We are building up their massive profiling database, which allows us to capture individual traits of that consumer and start building our story, start constructing our story. And that profiling takes a lot of time, a lot of memory, a lot of technology infrastructure. And as those profiles evolve, your segments also becomes more and more complicated. We have gradually my consumers, my SMBs, my large corporates. We are moving into a world where we are talking about micro-segmentation, where you need to look at these individual profiles and try to classify them into those micro segments. And remember, these micro segments again get stale very fast because consumer behavior is evolving. So the consumers keep on shuffling from one micro segment to another micro segment. So your technology infrastructure should be smart enough to not only allows you to profile and segment, but it should also allows you to shuffle the consumers from one segment to another. But apart from that, another important problem here is that who's going to maintain these segments? Who's going to control this segment? Is this the job of a technology to just simply define and control it? Or there is a lot of human intervention required to make sure that these segments don't lose their value. These segments don't go out of the control. So whenever we are laying down a measurement infrastructure, we need to think about all these factors, because it's not just about capturing your CSATs and NPS or the CES of the world, or capturing the lifetime value and churn, but it also thinks about that how to lay that proper measurement framework, the proper technology landscape, which allows you to capture these metrics in a more effective manner. We'll discuss more on these different metrics, on this technology architecture and the infrastructure in our upcoming episodes. But today, I want to conclude this episode by saying that the push to digital customer experience, or the whole omni-channel piece that we talk about, which is outside to inside view, is not just confined to specific industries. Earlier, the earlier adopters of these concepts were definitely the hospitality industry. The banking sector has invested significant amount of dollars in DCX. Telecom is a big success story, and they keep on evolving by marinating and blending the different touch points of the consumer so that they can give more seamless and memorable experience. We need to remember that it emanates from the evolution of the customer preferences or behavior as more and more channels emerge. And though the customers are becoming more tech savvy and digital is becoming a key part of their lifestyle, it's also going to serve to elevate the importance of the live agent interactions. The companies that understand the apparent contradiction truly commit to understanding the consumer journey or the customer experience aspect. So before we go deeper into the other success factors of the success journey, I would request all my subscribers and listeners that whenever you are designing or reconstructing your consumer journeys, take a step back and see how can you challenge the status quo. It's not just about doing those minor tweaks. Sometimes it's very critical to go back to the whiteboard and let go all the prejudices and think out of the box. And that's the key aspect here. So at the end, stay safe, stay connected. And if you have any questions, any feedback against this video, please post it below that. And we'll be more than happy to cover other interesting topics of the customer experience in our upcoming episodes. Thank you very much for listening, and stay safe. Hasta pronto.